Today we're gonna make our feature for adding biddings, wherein our goal is a login user to place his valid bids. The user must be logged in first, and the bid must be higher than the current price. And the bid that will be saved goes into our database. Let's implement that. First, we're gonna make sure our models contains our bid model. Then we're gonna go to our views.py and make a function for our bidding feature. Let's call this bid that accepts a request and listing ID. Before we continue, it must be important to take note. So login required is a feature of Django wherein it takes us the easy path wherein we don't need to take care anymore of the logic behind this. First, we're gonna go get our listing row. So this is a Django ORM, and listing is our model declared on top, and the ID accepts a parameter from our listing ID. Create a variable for current price, wherein our listing row has a property called current price. It is created on our last project as a property. And we're gonna write that if the request method is a post, we're gonna do the code later. But if it's a get request, we're gonna just redirect the user into the listing details page. Then our logic goes here to check what the user inputs. We're gonna make sure what the user types is a valid bid amount. We're gonna use a try and accept block here. This double checks if the user types any irrelevant or not float amount. It will be caught in this exception since our amount must be a float data type. And we're gonna call again our redirect page for this one. So the bid amount must be a float. We're gonna need to fetch our user's input data named bid and convert it into float. So rule number 1 must be higher than the current price. Then, if successful, save the bid to database. So if the bid amount is less than or equal to our current price, we're gonna call our error. Your bid must be higher than the current price. Oh, we have a typo here. And return the user to our listing details page. To save our bidding in our database, we're gonna need to call Django's ORM function, objects that create and declare the needed datas for values and columns. Declare our message success and return our user to the listing page. We're just gonna copy this since it's the same. In order for this messages object to be accessible, we're gonna need to call that from Django import messages. And we're checking where is this one, IntelliSense blinking. Oh, since this is a typo of that, okay, we're gonna make sure that our URLs contains our route for bid, and it's gonna call our views named bid and assigned to a name called bid. And we're gonna put our bid here, place a bid, and we're gonna check if the user is authenticated. Is a built-in function for our from Django to make our lives easier. Django does the work for us here to check if the user is authenticated. A form we create that has the action of and the method of post. Put the necessary details here and make this as required, and a button submit, which will submit this form named as bid. Else, if this data fails, we're just gonna call and put a message. You must be logged in to place a bid. So we're gonna run this one and check if this works. What happens? We're gonna restart our server and we have an error. Our message requests invalid syntax. Did you mean true? We failed to put a comma here, that's why the error occurred. Right now we're gonna check if it's fixed. We're gonna check our place a bid. So we're gonna try a lower amount than 0.04, like 0.03. It's not calling our error, rather it produces another error. We're gonna check on that later, but what if we put a higher amount? It doesn't accept 0.05. What if 0.05? Oh, doesn't accept it either. Maybe a 1 it will accept. Our code broke, so our error comes from our views, which is labeled as listing details, but I'm gonna check this one if it works. Place bid 1. Now our current price is 1, also 1 here in the index. And we're gonna check our another error causing before. When it's below our current price 0.03, we input 0.02, it shows another error. In our models, bids is a decimal. Oh, our error comes from here. It must accept a step of 0.01. We're gonna run this again and check if it runs our bid. So it's an error. What if 0.03? It redirects because you failed. I guess this works, but the user experience is a bit off. We're gonna change our erroring messaging for this one. We as the developer gonna do a bit better more to tell what our users must do better when they encountered an error. So the user experience must understand what is wrong so that they can do better next time they try. So what we do here is, if they type 0.02, they don't know why that happens, why it refreshes. It's like hard reset. So we must tell the user of the error message properly. So we're gonna change this redirect into a render and pass this data into this. Gonna copy and paste this one and replace other error message for the better UX design. And we're gonna try this again. So if we type 0.02, what's gonna happen is still it's refreshing. Why? Actually, the render doesn't fix this issue. We're just gonna go back to redirect and proceed to our HTML. We're gonna go to our listing details HTML and put a message here. If messages is detected, cycle this through a for loop wherein we create a div with the class of alert and a message description here. What if we try to put a string? The form doesn't allow. That's it.